Hi everybody. So, I want to talk about something that's really important in the context of self-defense. Not combatives, not martial arts, not Krav Maga, self-defense. Right? And that's something that I feel is often glossed over or not taught very well, right? Which is the topic of intuition. Right? Now, I've spoken about what intuition is and a bunch of other things relating to intuition in other videos, and I'll do another one shortly. But one of the things that we always hear self-defense instructors say, and rightfully so, is you need to trust your intuition. In other words, if you have that innate early warning system that we have in our body tells us that something is wrong, or something is off, or something is about to happen, we need to trust it. And I've got plenty of examples, again, other videos or blogs that I've put up about situations where trusting my intuition has literally saved my life, as well as the lives of many others when they have done the same. I can also tell you from experience that every time that my intuition told me something and I ignored it, I regretted it. Whether that was a personal decision, a business decision, a safety decision, personal safety decision, every single time. Okay, so we often hear, trust your intuition, trust your gut. Wonderful piece of advice. But what does that mean to trust your intuition? So we can break that down into 3 steps or 3 things, right? The first one is I have to be able to recognize that my intuition is telling me something and not disregard it, right? So the first part of trusting my intuition is recognizing when my intuition is firing up. Well, what does it feel like when my intuition is firing up or something feels wrong? Most of the time, it's described very similarly to the signs of adrenal dump. In other words, I get that adrenal response. I get butterflies in my stomach, hair standing on end, kind of faster heart rate, pupils dilate, all the things that happen when we get the fight or flight response. But what's unique about intuition is that that is usually accompanied with the fact that I can't quite pinpoint what is going on to trigger that adrenal response. So the first sign, or the first part of trusting my intuition is recognizing that my intuition is firing, right? I get that response and I can't identify why I'm getting that response. I need to stop and go, okay, my intuition is telling me something. So step 1 is recognizing your intuition. Step 2 is trusting your intuition, right? So it's one thing to recognize your intuition is firing, but if you don't trust that your intuition is doing what's in your best interest, and if you don't convince yourself logically that you're not just being paranoid, right, then it doesn't matter. If your intuition is firing and you're ignoring it, or you don't trust that it's in response to something, you're not going to act. So the second step is trusting your intuition. And for me personally, the way that always feels in terms of kind of recognizing whether it's my intuition or something else is whether it starts from my gut and then goes to my head, or starts at my head and then I get the signs, right? What do I mean by that? If I get the physical impact, right, that adrenal dump, that sense of intuition that something is wrong, I can't pinpoint what it is, and I'm getting that adrenal dump. So it starts from a visceral, physical sensation, and then my head is trying to catch up, going, why am I feeling this? Something feels wrong, but I can't pinpoint what it is. For me, that's a sign that my intuition is trying to tell me something. If it starts from my head, in other words, I think about something, right? I've seen a string of attacks in elevators in my city in the last 6 months, and I'm about to walk into an elevator and I'm thinking about it, and then I get the adrenal dump, then for me, that's a sign that I'm priming myself to think about something. Maybe it's not a case that my intuition is telling me something. Okay, so starting from the gut and then to the head, for me, that's intuition. Starting from the head and working my way down, it's probably me priming myself to think about something. Okay, so step 1, just recapping, right? I need to recognize that my intuition is firing. Step number 2, I need to trust my intuition that it's telling me something. It really is an intuitive response, and I need to trust it that's in response to something. Now that's hard because the whole thing with intuition is that it hasn't reached my conscious brain and I haven't been able to process it yet. So at that point, I need to stop, take a step back and assess the situation and trust what's going on. Step 3 is I need to be able to act on my intuition, right? So if I recognize my intuition, I trust my intuition's in my best interest and it's finely tuned, I still then need to be able to act on it, right? And that could be managing the adrenal dump because I'm so adrenalized that I can't act, right? It could be being in a space where I don't feel like I can do something, or it could just be simply, taking too long to do something, or it could be a whole bunch of other things, but those are immediate things that come to my mind, right? So next time you hear trust your intuition, think about these things, right? Recognize the signs of intuition, trust your intuition, and while I'm on that topic, right, intuition always acts in your own, in your best interest, right? It's always in response to something, always, 100% of the time, and it's always in your best interest, right? It's a self-defense mechanism, a self-protection mechanism, right? And lastly, I need to be able to act on that, and that means managing my adrenaline, right? Taking a step back, trusting it, and not letting things like social constraints, like I don't want to be rude, or I don't want that person to think something about me, stop me from doing what my intuition is telling me to do, okay? So, recognize the intuition, trust the intuition, act upon the intuition, right? Now, if you compare that to other models that you may have seen in combatives or Krav Maga or self-defense or what have you, it's actually kind of similar in a way to the OODA loop, right? I need to recognize what's going on around me. I need to stop and make a decision. I need to act on that decision, except the first couple of steps in that are now kind of happening subconsciously as a response to stimulus that I haven't consciously processed yet. That's my intuition, okay? So hopefully that helps you with listening to your intuition and trusting your gut, which we hear a lot in self-defense courses, but very rarely explain. Stay safe out there. If you have any more questions about intuition, come talk to me.